Hello Internet, my name is Gigabyte, that's with a double I, Byte for short, and welcome back to yet another episode of Bedwars. So today's episode's going to be a little bit short. I have two things I really want to do in it. One, I want to answer the question, how many hours would you have to cheat in order to get to 1,000 stars? I'll explain that a little more when we get to it. And two, I'd like to just give my thoughts on the recent Bedwars update that did just drop. So, in case you haven't seen, the admins released an update on forums yesterday, giving a kind of like update about where we are in regards to the Bedwars updates, and as of right now, they've made an update to the leveling system in Bedwars, which is cool, and I'm glad to see that. It is always a great thing to get an update for Bedwars, no matter how small it is. I think I feel a little underwhelmed by it, though, the same way I felt underwhelmed when there was that other forum post about the future of the next major Bedwars update. GG's. And now, the reason I'm saying that isn't because I want to, like, hate on Hypixel or anything like that, but I think they're kind of missing the core issue surrounding Bedwars currently. Bedwars as a game mode is dying. I think that's something everyone in the community can acknowledge. It's slowly dying, and it doesn't take much to look at the numbers and see how they've dropped drastically compared to where they were a few years ago to realize that unless we do something soon, they're not going to be going up on their own. They will keep decreasing. And I think what upsets me about this is that I feel like the answer is really simple. We need to get a more casual audience, a reason to have interest in Bedwars again. The casual player, if they were to look at Bedwars, ow, I knew you were there. When a casual player looks at Bedwars nowadays, they don't see a game mode that used to be fun, silly nonsense where, you know, you could go to, like, the different generators throughout the map, spend some time, really work on, like, getting your own, like, resources, gear, defending your base. They see a sweaty, non-fun, like, competitive playground, to put it, and there is nothing wrong with having sweats in a game mode. That is naturally going to happen with the life cycle of a game. The issue is, we're not doing anything to cater to the casual audience, and without a casual audience, you're going to lose the entirety of the game. I myself consider myself more of a casual sweat. I don't like the level of, like, ranked Bedwars, but I'm also a little more experienced at the play than, say, your average, like, casual player. Now, with that being said, whoa, oh my gosh, take that. Now, with that being said, again, there is nothing wrong with there being more sweaty players, but at the heart of a game, you need the casual audience. You need the people who are going to play, like, 3 rounds of Bedwars and then call it a day and move on. I get that they're not going to be the ones who will put the most investment into it, but if you have a lot more of those players, then the game will sustain itself on its own. You're going to have queues that go quicker. You're going to have games where sweats can, you know, not have to try hard like they're playing ranked Bedwars every single time, but at the same token, they can still have, like, fun in their own sense. But you need a lot of queues. A casual player will understand if, like, once every few games they play, alright, there was a really good player in that game. Like, you know, maybe they'll be upset about it, but if it's not every single game, they could get past that, because they're not going to be worried about their stats the same way a sweaty player is. Now, if you make it where every single game they play, they have a sweaty player and they're never able to make it past, like, you know, Diamond 1 or Diamond 2, whatever the first one is, then you're going to have an issue. Then you're going to have players start leaving, because why am I going to waste time sitting in a queue that never queues up just to, you know, realize, hey, even though I waited all this time for the queue to start, I'm immediately out of the game in the first, like, minute, and that's not fun for me. GG's. I'm literally switching to Fireball Fight for the rest of the video because I don't want to have to play a sweaty round of Bedwars while I'm trying to commentate. I want, like, a more casual gameplay, and the fact of the matter is, I'm not going to find that on Hypixel. It's very unlikely. I mean, even in that last game, there were, like, 3 sweaty people in it. That, like, I feel like that's a lot more sweaty people than, you know, a lot of us would hope for. Again, nothing wrong with that, and honestly, I'd be okay with it if the sweaty people were more on par to each other. A huge issue Hypixel has is queuing. That would help casual players avoid sweaty people. If we could do queues more often, then guess what? We would end up in situations where there's more games that are more fun for casual players, and we'd increase the audience. Another thing that we could do is just update the main gameplay loop of Bed Wars. It's 7 years old now, almost 8, and don't get me wrong, there is absolutely nothing wrong with the current gameplay loop of Bed Wars, but it's been done so much that without something new to like revitalize it, most people probably aren't going to be coming back. Or, you know, we need to get a creator community around it. The issue is, there's not really a lot of support for a creator community. Listen, we can talk about this. We can talk about this. We can talk about this, dude. We can talk about it. GG's. And I don't want this to come across as like, I'm just angry that I'm not as good as like the sweaty players of the game, and, you know, I want it to be that I only get queued with casual players. That's not at all what I'm trying to say here. I have no issues with sweaty players. I enjoy sweaty games. I just wish it wasn't every 10th game I get like a really casual queue. I wish it was every 10th game I get a sweaty queue. I feel like that would be a little more balanced in the queuing. GG's. All this to say, look, I think the updating Bed Wars XP is good. I think it was something that was needed, especially with the amount of people who were cheating, boosting, like, it's good. And that being said, Bed Wars Stars as is has always primarily been based off of amount of time playing the game, so it's nice to see that they actually finally took some time to like rework the XP leveling system into like actual gameplay based stuff. I could go into describing it. I'll toss this stuff up on screen, but if you're really interested, you can pause, or I'll talk about it on stream, or heck, even start a discussion in the comment section down below. I'm fine to do that. But it's an update that is tailored specifically for people who already care about Bed Wars, who are going to be playing it for the stats. Your casual players probably not going to be playing it for the stats. They may like the star they have, but they're not going to be playing it for the stats. And an update that focuses primarily on the stats is not going to be an update that can help support the lifespan of the game. And I think the main reason I'm worried is because knowing what they're planning, at least generally speaking, for the next Bed Wars update, it doesn't seem like they're going to be doing anything to update the main gameplay loop, to balance it so that, you know, if there's not going to be some sort of like queuing system, at least, you know, there's items that more casual players can use effectively to counteract sweats that aren't just spam fireballs. Even something as simple as like reducing the amount of fast iron maps, that could greatly change what the average player experiences when playing Bed Wars. GG's. I already have a video talking about what I would want. I queued the wrong mode. I already have a video talking about what I would want from Bed Wars 2.0 update, but all this to say, I just want to see something that will support a casual community more than a sweat community, because I want to see Bed Wars come back better than ever before, and in order for that to happen, we need to increase the casual player base. Appealing strictly to sweats is not going to save Bed Wars. It'll maybe give it another few years, but Bed Wars will die sooner rather than later. Anyways, with all of that being said, you're probably wondering now, what the heck do I mean by cheating to get to 1,000 stars? Well, let me explain. So, since before the update, the primary way you would earn Bed Wars XP was just by playtime, theoretically, it'd be possible to just consistently queue games of Bed Wars, as long as you didn't care about stats. Once streams came in, then this was definitely doable without affecting your stats, but just queuing games of Bed Wars, and AFKing there for a little bit, you know, maybe run a script that moves you side to side for a little bit, and then auto-requeues the game for you. Something very simple that you run it long enough on its own, you will gain Bed Wars XP for literally just joining and sitting in a round. So theoretically, how long would it take you of doing this, which is cheating by the Hypixel Network's rules, that is cheating, so do not do this, that will get you banned, and I do not endorse this, but for the sake of curiosity, how long would it take you doing this to get to 1,000 stars? Alright, we're gonna do some math on the Minecraft sign. So, you earn 25 Bed Wars XP for every 1 minute you play the game. So, we're also going to assume that every level is 5,000 XP. Technically, there is like a weird thing where for the first few levels of every 100 stars, it's not 5,000 XP to level up, but we're going to ignore that just to make our math a little simpler, because I really don't feel like going into all those details. Keeping it at the base level, if it's 5,000 XP for every star, and you earn 25 XP for every minute. We need to know the total amount of XP it's going to take so we can figure out how much time we're going to need. So first, we want 1,000 stars. We're just going to multiply that by 5,000 XP. 5,000 XP for every single star, and that's going to give us 5 million. Easy peasy. Next, we're going to take that 5 million XP, and we want to figure out how many minutes that is. So again, 25 XP equals 1 minute. So if we divide this by 25 for 25 XP per minute, we're going to be able to convert this into the amount of minutes. And 5 million divided by 25 is...
Not fast enough, I guess.
I was watching Markiplier, so when I pulled up my calculator, it started his video. 200,000. So 200,000 minutes goes into getting you enough XP to have 1,000 stars. Alright, 200,000 is kind of a weird number, so let's try and work this into something a little easier to understand. What about hours? Well, we know there's 60 minutes for every hour, so if I have 200,000 minutes, and I divide that by 60 minutes, we'll be able to convert this into hours. So 200,000 divided by 60 is going to be 3,333.333 repeating hours. That's a big number. Still kind of useless for us, so let's see if we can simplify it a little bit more. Well, we know there's 24 hours in a day, so what if we try to convert this into days? Well, if we take 3,333 hours with 0.333 repeating, and we divide that by 24 hours for 1 day, we get 138.8 repeating days. Okay, that's a little more useful. That's probably around a third of a year, and we could check that just by doing a little bit of math here. Yeah, that's just over 1/3 of a year. And since a year is 12 months long, a third of 12 is 4. So in 4 months, if you were to run a script for 4 months non-stop in Bed Wars, you could theoretically get to 1,000 stars without doing anything. That's crazy. That's not using any of the new stuff. This is just from good old original 2017 Bed Wars, AFK in an account, running a script, moving side to side in a Bed Wars game, would get you 1,000 stars after 4 months. Now, do not do this. This is a bannable offense on the Hypixel network. It's known as boosting. Do not do it. I do not endorse it, and I do not support anyone who does it. That being said, this is a very interesting thought experiment, and I really hope we do see a better change for Bed Wars coming in the future. I'm really glad the Hypixel team is working on updating the game, but I would really like to see them update the core issue affecting Bed Wars player base, and it's the fact that there isn't a environment that supports a casual community. A lot of people in Bed Wars nowadays play Bed Wars on a much more competitive level, and those who don't, they are tossed into situations where they can't enjoy a game casually. They can't learn slowly. They immediately get knocked off the map by 1,000 star sweat because the queuing system is non-existent past like 10 stars. And I understand that if they were to try and do this, it would affect some of the stars and make some of the queuing take a lot longer, but that isn't a reason we shouldn't try to find a proper queuing system. It's that much more of a reason to think maybe stars isn't the way we should queue players. Maybe we should queue players by their FKDR, because that's a much more valuable statistic to show, hey, this player has this level of skill. Or maybe we should focus on a combination of stars and FKDR, something other than just, we're going to toss a bunch of random people together and there's 1,000 star, 400 star, 500 star, and a 15 star all in the same lobby. That's fair, because at the end of the day, it really isn't. And for that 15 star player, they're going to just grow to hate Bed Wars, and they will eventually stop playing. And that'll be one less player playing Bed Wars until one day, Bed Wars becomes the next insane Sky Wars. Who did that right as I'm trying to make an emotional, meaningful point? This is not a time for fireworks! But with that, guys, that was another episode of Bed Wars. I hope you all enjoyed. Hopefully that wasn't too much of a clickbait title. I mean, really it wasn't. I did give you how long it would take to cheat to get to 1,000 stars, and I gave my thoughts on the Bed Wars update. But if you thought it was clickbait, I don't know, tell me in the comments down below. And as always, if you enjoyed, please consider to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It means a lot to me. Lets me know that you guys enjoy what I'm doing. And with that, bid you all farewell. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace. Bye-bye!